Hello again, my beautiful people. So today I am doing my quarterly clean with me. It is April 1st, so technically it is the first day of the second quarter of 2021. We are, wow, a quarter of the way there already. But yeah, so today felt like a great day for adulting because it snowed. Which, you know, I live in New York, isn't too much of a shock in March or April now. But, you know, last week it was 75 degrees. Which again, I shouldn't be shocked, but I am ready for some plannings because I need some motivation to get through the snow. Although I will admit it has mostly melted by now. It is also 32 degrees and I'm cold, so let's go! First I started off by just cleaning my room, taking care of all my laundry, making the bed, wiping some stuff down, just getting ready to be motivated to plan the next 3 months. This might be the best angle I'm gonna get on this because I keep getting whited out by the window. It's not actually snowy as it looks out here in the reflection, it's just lighting. So, I finished tidying up my room. It looks and smells a lot better. I used the Mrs. Meyer's fresh cut grass multi-purpose spray to dust off my dresser, and then I used the Caldrea sea salt Neroli for the linen and room spray. It smells amazing. And then here in my flower diffuser I have eucalyptus diffusing. So it smells very flowery, very spring-like, hint of summery. Every time I use the fresh cut grass, my allergies are like, oh no, she's around grass, and I start sneezing. But I'm not actually around grass, so I'm basically just sneezing at the thought of grass. Welcome to spring. But yeah, so it is now journaling time. Every quarter I write down important dates that I need to for the next 3 months, write any special notes I have coming up, put in a couple week schedule that like I know of in advance. I do have a vacation coming up in May, which I will talk about after I'm done journaling. So I will also be journaling a little bit about that. You know, like checklists and so a little bit of things that I want to get done, and I'll explain it all after I'm done, but here we go, time to start journaling. So I put in some of the schedule that I knew and appointments that I knew I had, and then I planned, this was for my trip in May. I really shouldn't say trip, it's kind of like a mini vacation. So in May, the 17th through the 21st, I'm gonna do like a no technology back to earth type thing. When I was in college, one of the required courses was called field camp, and basically for 5 days you went off to the hills. Basically you were literally out in the middle of the woods and you had school for 5 days and you were just in the woods and you learned everything that had to go with basically the degree, which was environmental studies, and I loved every moment of it. I didn't like camping beforehand, and after those 5 days, like literally I am itching to go camping. I want to go so bad. And the best part was that there was no signal. So I was forced to do a phone detox. And by the end, when I came back to civilization, I didn't even want to return, really. I wanted to stay off my phone, but you know, you kind of get sucked back in. So this is also going to be like a phone detox as well, because I'm going to have my phone off. Like I like cringe saying it, but I'm turning my phone off. But basically what I was planning here is that in this little section here, I was writing out basically what kind of meals I'm roughly going to be going for. While we were there, we had an indoor dining hall with electricity, so we actually had like food, but I'll be like making everything ahead of time. That way I can spend less time indoors making food and more time outside. And then this row here was all the activities that I've planned. I plan on doing like a lot more yoga and meditation outdoors if possible. A lot of hiking, like I planned a couple different locations. One of the things that we did one day was we practiced doing a field journal. And I want to kind of get back into that because I loved doing it. I just haven't done it. And then I might start on my garden. I haven't totally decided yet. It depends on when it coincides with the planting time. And then this row here was all the supplies I want to make sure I bring. When I went for field camp, I didn't realize how cold it was going to get because it actually dipped down into the 30s that week. And I only brought warm stuff because it's the end of May. It's going to be warm. It was cold, so I made sure I wrote down warm things, so I remembered to bring warm things, and then some cold things as well. And then here was a little side note. I don't know if I'm going to do like a theme each day, like in field camp, each day was themed out, or if I'm just going to go enjoy myself and see what happens. I'll probably decide more of this a little bit closer. And then yeah, so that was my journaling. I didn't really have a lot to really write down, I guess, besides planning my vacation. But I have started something new, and I figured I'd share it with you guys to kind of keep myself accountable. I used to write a checklist in my journal, basically, of like things I wanted to get done, but it got so overwhelming seeing this huge list that I'd get paralyzed and not get anything done. So, let me get it out. I started this. It's a separate little notebook that only has the to-do list of bigger things that need to get done. These aren't like daily things, like take care of the compost, take care of the garden, you know, it's like the bigger things. Actually, I just did that one yesterday, so yay. But that way I'm not paralyzed by it, and I figure when I get more into staying on top of journaling and doing my to-do list that I'll pick like one to do for the week, and then I can say, yes, I crossed off a big thing on my major to-do list. Hopefully this will keep me a little bit more organized. Okay, now that I'm not actively journaling, I tilted you up a little bit so you can see me better. Hello. I feel crooked. Hi. Okay. So, what I did in January was I wrote down 12 books that I wanted to finish in the year, roughly about one a month. So for my quarter, I planned 3 books that I wanted to get done by the end of that quarter. I picked The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and then I did I Am Malala by Malala, and then I did The Wisdom of Native Americans. So first I picked The Secret Garden because I love this book. It's amazing, and I forced myself to read it across 2 different days. I read so fast that honestly I could sit down and read this whole thing in probably an afternoon. It's only 300 pages. So I forced myself to stop about midway through and finish it the next day so I could enjoy it, and I loved it. It was so amazing to read it again. I want to read it right now, honestly. And then I read I Am Malala, and I did end up reading this in one sitting. I didn't mean to, but I lost track of time and then the book was over. Also a great book. Now both of those I'd read in the past, so they were super easy to get through. The Wisdom of Native Americans I did not finish. I got super close, like this is the part I did read and this is the part I didn't get to yet. So I'm over halfway. I'm probably about 2/3 through. I wish I could have said I finished it, but I didn't, so I guess this just packs on more work for me later in the year, but that's okay, I don't mind at all. So for my next 3 books that I'm going to read, I have Unstoppable by Bill Nye. It's an environmental book he is super into environmentalism, and he has tons of TV shows about it. Basically, think Bill Nye the Science Guy, but for adults. I started it, I remember it, and it was amazing. Like, I read this much. But then I put it down, and 2 years went by, and I haven't finished it yet. So, here we go. I'm gonna finish it. The Violence of Organized Forgetting. There was a project at school, and I didn't have to read this, but this was like, I'd picked this up to use in that project, and I loved it. So, I had, I got it for Christmas, I think. I don't remember. It was either Christmas or birthday. But I have it, so I'm gonna actually read it now. I have a bookmark about halfway through, but I'm just gonna start all over again. Same thing with the Bill Nye. I'm just gonna start all over again, start at the beginning, see what I can't get through. Last but not least, this is my for fun book. This is Beautiful Chaos by Gary Russell. It is a Doctor Who book. It goes with my TARDIS blanket that I have on my bed. And I started it. Again, I have started so many books and didn't finish. So I'm going to start again at the beginning, and I'm going to finish this book. This is going to be super fun. This looks like it'll be the easiest to get through. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's 242 pages. This will probably be an afternoon read. Yay! Those are my 3 books for this quarter. Okay, and this is the last part that I could think of for my quarterly plan with me. I kind of said it earlier, so I wonder if anybody is knowing what I'm about to say, but it is spring, which means it's garden time. Yay, I'm so excited. I don't have the resources to do from seed yet. I'm hoping I will be able to in a couple of years, but for right now I am doing the saplings, the RD seeded ones from a farmer's market. I know it's more expensive, but unfortunately I don't have the space or right now the time to put into growing it from seed. There are a couple of, well, I'll start my beans from seeds, but I'll put them directly in the garden once it warms up. But everything else I'm just planning to do from little saplings. So there is a possibility that something that I plan right now is not going to happen come planting time or when I go to buy them, because they could be sold out or the farmer's market had a failure to grow. There was one year I was going to do the different colored bell peppers, but the only color that they had survive in their nursery was green. All the other ones died, so I just went with green. I mean, it's not a big deal. They don't all taste the same, but they all grow the same, so. But yeah, I'm just gonna do like a preliminary, so I'm just gonna do a preliminary list of things that I would like to do in my garden. So I always do it on a separate piece of paper, that way I can take it off and bring it with me. So pads. And should I do fun pen? I'm thinking fun pen. Let's see what I got. Let's see. There are no pens in there. I don't know why I looked. Pen. Let's do orange. I have an orange neon pen. Okay. Oops. Garden ideas. Yay. Okay, so every year I always do zucchini and yellow squash. Every year. It is a staple in my house in the summer. We do zucchini bread, we do ratatouille, we do grilled zucchini and squash, sauteed zucchini and squash with spices. I mean, you name it, I've probably done something. I did squash taters. Those were good. I forgot how good those were. I'm excited to make those again. If you don't follow me already, I have a Instagram account for the food I make. It's called Go Veggie 8181. And I don't really cook too much in the winter. I don't post a lot. But in the summertime, I post way more. So I will be posting the foods that I'll be making. I'm so excited. Okay, so I always do that. This year I did it in the new section of my garden. Here, let me show you what I'm working with. You can kind of see it from my room. Okay, so I had to open my window, so it's a little bit chilly, but this is the garden that I'm working with. It has basically been abandoned all winter, so ignore the mess. I'll be cleaning it up soon. But the far garden right there, that's what I consider the new garden, because I only built it a couple years ago. This bigger one here, I've had way longer, since I was like 5. So last year I did the zucchini and squash in the new garden back there. So this year I will be putting it in this garden here. And those are my two composters, which I will be doing a little bit more with this summer. And that right there is my strawberry patch, that little strip of garden. So yeah, I rotate my crops between the back and the front, especially since I do a lot of tomatoes. Tomatoes can super easily get basically any disease. So, and I've had a couple diseases with my tomatoes, so I'm constantly switching them between the garden. That way I can let the soil heal from what was just planted there. And anything that I've had struggle the year before, I put wherever my beans were, because beans put a lot of nitrogen back into the soil. And that is super healthy for your plants. Your plants love it. So there's my little side note of what I'm doing. So zucchini and yellow squash, anytime I make my list, I roughly plan where it's going to. That way I can keep in mind what I've got where. So I'm putting those in the front garden again. So I mentioned tomatoes. I usually do beefsteak and cherry. If they have Roma, I might try some Roma. There is cars. There are lots of them. There's a recipe for salsa I want to try this year, and they said that Roma tomatoes work better. So I'm gonna do cherry, beefsteak, and Roma. Because there are tons of tomatoes, I will be putting them pretty much exclusively just in the back part. I did do them 2 years ago, and normally I do a 2-year rest before I switch, but I didn't have any disease. I just switched them over to make sure that that didn't happen. I planted marigolds. I don't know if that helped, but I will be planting marigolds again and just scattering them throughout the garden. So I'm just gonna write marigold down. I don't really plan where I'm putting them. I just go for pretty different colored marigolds, scatter them throughout the garden, call it good. They help with pests, I guess, too, so which is great because I don't have any fencing or anything really to keep out insects. I don't use pesticides. Basically, I'm organic, I guess. So marigolds is my pesticide. Okay, so I have the squashes, I have tomatoes, beans jump to my mind first. I have tons of bean seeds to use up, like way too many. So I will not be purchasing any beans. I don't know where they're going quite yet, but it was just what popped in my brain, so beans. Bell peppers. I don't know what colors I'm gonna get. I'll probably use whatever they've got there. Most likely green. They always have green. But if they have anything else that's fun. I did yellow one year. They did okay. I'll try all those colors again. I will also be doing those in the front. I usually put them somewhere around the squash. They seem to do well with each other. So front. Anytime I go to plan my garden, my brain just deletes everything I've ever done. Oh, cucumbers. Sorry, I had to look at my garden to remember. I do cucumbers. And I think those will go in the front again too. I usually do eggplant, but the way climate change is going, it's just getting too hot in like July or August to support eggplant. It just, they like the cooler temperatures. I think Sunshine Farms is able to get away with it. I stumbled upon their gardening and they do amazing gardens, and I think they've been able to get away with eggplant. But I don't know, my garden, it gets too much sun. It's basically not 24-hour sun. 16-hour? It's all day sun, basically. It gets zero shade. So I can't do eggplant anymore. I was gonna replace it with spaghetti squash, if they had any spaghetti squash. And if they didn't have spaghetti squash, I was gonna do carrots. But let's be honest, if they have both, I will probably somehow end up doing both. And those will both be in the front. I know it seems like I'm putting a lot in the front because I have my squash, bell peppers, cucumbers, and my miscellaneous one. But the tomatoes are just going to literally take up that whole garden because they come in packs of like 4 or 6. I'll be doing, if I can do 4, I'll do 4 of the cherry and beefsteak. But if they come in 6s, I'll just grab the 6. I'll grab whatever smaller amount there is. And then for the Roma, I'll either do the 6 or the 8. That way I have enough to make the salsa or spaghetti sauce or basically whatever recipe I'm going to be trying this summer. What else do I got? I bought something. What did I buy? I was at a gardening center. Asparagus. That's what I bought. I was going to do asparagus, which will be in the front. I have rhubarb already in the garden. It's one of those that comes back every year. Asparagus will be the same, and it's 3 to 5 years before you can harvest anything from asparagus. So I'll just be putting that right next to the rhubarb, and they can just chill together to each other's heart's content and be happy. And actually, the way the rhubarb is, it creates like a little tiny dead spot because I can't get any plant really in there without the rhubarb kind of getting too close. So that'll work perfect if I put the asparagus there because they can fight each other and be totally fine. Crossies. Last year I did squash, peppers, and eggplant. I'm getting rid of the eggplant, replacing it. Then I did tomatoes, beans, cucumber. I did collard greens, but I'm not doing that again. I think I have some spinach seeds maybe that I can put in. I'll put in the spinach seeds. I did spinach a couple years ago and nothing happened. Like it was like I put nothing in the soil. So I'll put spinach seeds down again. If nothing comes up, I'll just do a second sowing of beans because their season is so small, they'll last well into September and be fine. So I'll just put the beans in the front too. Yeah, I think that's my garden. It's not a lot, but it's better to try to grow a little bit yourself. And then I'll also be supplementing my garden with the farmers markets around my area. Down the road from me, there's a farm stand that's up 24/7. If I like ever need anything, I quickly run down there and grab something. But then also Saturday mornings, there's a farmer's market of all the local farmers in the area, and they have a variety of different things. So I'll go there probably and grab some stuff. My sister also wants to plant gourds in my garden, which she does pretty much every year. She likes to buy them and then grow them the next year. So I will probably end up planting those. But I won't know where those go until after I put my stuff in, because I'd like to plan the edible stuff first, and then I will put in the non-edible stuff, like her pumpkins. Like she has a pink pumpkin she wants to try to plant. And then the gourds. But yeah, so there's my list. This list will go into probably in my journal around the end of April, early May. That way I have it safe, I know what I'm planning. I'll just put this notebook back. Pen cap. you guys so much for hanging out with me today and planning the next 3 months. I hope I gave you guys some motivation for you as well to get ready for the spring and the summer. I am so excited for warmer weather. Here I am sitting and it's snowing out and daydreaming about my garden and my little camping trip in May. I will see you guys soon. Again, thank you for sticking with me. Give me a like. If you are a subscriber, thank you for sticking with me to the end. If you aren't a subscriber yet, please hit that big red button down below to hang out in Sam's fullest life.